2025, folks. What a year. What a year to be working in the AI space, to be talking about it, to be commenting on it, to have guests that have come into our show that have graced this amazing space.
Yeah.
Due to Fex
Keep talking.
Global for that. Chris is just running off now, but that's okay. He's back. AI Chris will be back. Snap, there you go. You didn't even know that he was gone. He's got his trusty sidekick over here, his Jarvis. But yeah, Chris, what are we talking about today?
Today, we're going to do a bit of a recap. I think on the year that's been, on some of the amazing conversations we've had, probably do a bit of critiquing and
Of ourselves,
of the conversations, and sharing some of the things that we have learned and been inspired by the many conversations that we've had over the last 3 months. We've pretty much kicked this off.
Yeah. I've got something new starting in the new year work-wise and stuff, but we've also got something new for this podcast. So we'll be talking about that towards the end of the episode.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. But right now we're going to go straight back into the things that just kicked this all off, this new change for us over the last 13 episodes.
Because we started doing a lot of news.
Yeah.
That was where we began. And
just another news show.
It was very much a content engine kind of thing for us. It was stuff that we could share out to show that we were understanding and on top of what is happening in the AI space.
It helped us with our own learning as well. Like by writing newsletters and even like talking about it, it helps you just keep on top of things. Like it's a public diary per se. But we changed.
And we changed, yeah. And we changed to one of the episodes we had with Ned Warfield. Warfield.
Yeah.
And
shout outs to Ned.
Shout out to Ned. And we had a lot of great feedback from that particular episode, as it was more of that interview style conversation around him.
It's personal.
And specialist in the AI space. And that kind of pivoted us from that September period where we just started to talk more with actual specialists in the AI field.
Yeah.
Very inspired by founders, people who are working in the AI space, to share their story, their journey, their skills and their knowledge to hopefully add value to people who
sort of like sort of like Diary of a CEO.
It has, very much so. I've a lot of inspiration from him, from that show as well. But should we start? Where do we kick things off?
We're going to kick things off with the first episode that kicked things off.
The first
great English. When you see things like that come up, you know it wasn't AI, right? Right. AI is too clean. It's not rough. It's not, rough around the edges.
I love that. It's the introductions that AI loves to give.
Shahmayne?
Huge. Love Shahmayne. Fantastic. Fantastic human.
Is the solution? What is it that this team member needs to do a better job, a more efficient job, and actually spend less time being really manual? Just because those products can create a beautiful looking interface doesn't necessarily mean that it works well. Hang on, why are we fighting when there's this group here that actually want it?
What was that first episode about?
So Shahmayne is a CX leader, very, very smart person, working with organizations to help them get both businesses and products to market in the most meaningful way. And that episode was talking around how people need to think more around the applications of CX into the AI space, and not just be rolling out, I guess, what we in the early places that we were talking about. Rolling out AI as product is not always the best thing to be doing it, more treating it with a human, from a human perspective, that it is a feature to enhance the experience of the products that people are creating.
And enhance the workflows and
exactly
the way that people work. And what was interesting is that, coming from a founder's background, it's very easy to fall into the trap of just building out features and not considering how people are going to use it, and just like, hey, this is the tool, it does all these things, go for it and stuff. And it's like, well, maybe you need to take a step back and just figure out, like, what is it that people actually want to use and how do they want to actually use it? Because you might know the what, but if you can't translate exactly how people are going to work with the tools that makes their lives easier and doesn't take away from the work that they're doing, it assists and enhances more than replaces, then it's tough. But yeah, they're doing some amazing things over there. So her and the team, Ben, Gareth at Friday. So she was great enough to come on and be our first guest.
She was our first guest for this new trend. And it was a good episode as well. Like working a lot in that CX, UX, and product space myself, I resonated with like pretty much everything that she was talking about, and all the pains that she'd been seeing from businesses in the market who were just essentially and we saw this trend actually with future episodes, talking about how people are just taking AI, throwing it into the business and saying that's my,
I'm done.
We've done the AI strategy.
Innovation's done.
Yeah. You're not thinking about the person, you're not thinking about the humans that are utilizing it. You're just ticking a box. And that has proven, as we saw in later episodes, to fail. And then you see all this stuff in the media around AI isn't improving performance. And it's because people aren't thinking about it in the right way. They're checkboxing an AI strategy piece rather than thinking about where are the problems that we're facing and how do we improve those elements? And is AI even the right fit for that?
Exactly, all of that stuff that Chris said. And it rolled into the next episode with Serena. Let's take a look.
Yes.
People don't know who to buy from, right? And so we've now seen Twitter, LinkedIn become a really good means of us getting content. And so how do you then build your brand so that people trust you, Chris, to buy from you, learn about, are they the top 3 problems the customer has on it every week? If they're not the top 3, you're probably building the wrong product. AI it's a super smart, super eager intern. So interns don't really know what the world's like, the mistakes, how to frame it. But if they're super smart, they're really good. So how do you train an AI?
Great episode there with Serena and the product that she's building over there, and links in the show notes with all of these. Like we're going through the playlist here, folks, so you can go back through our back catalogue of episodes. But what was really interesting there, and I've seen others do this, but from talking to Serena, it was like very well thought out process of how you gather information and how you use AI to extract like the right kind of thing so that she get the outcome that she wants, which was to deliver better leads to people.
So she had started the company Fuzzy, and it was one of the first episodes where we started to talk about the founder journey that she'd been on as well. And so she identified this gap in the market at the time, and now there's probably another few other products that have started to rise because of it. But she identified this gap and is utilizing AI to I guess improve and make it easier for people to find, source, and communicate with leads through LinkedIn and other social channels. And so Fuzzy is her product that came off the back of that, and they've been doing really well over the last sort of 12 months or 3 months actually since we last spoke with her. Unlocked capital.
Congratulations.
They're in Singapore at the moment. And that's kudos to her.
Exactly.
Experience. But it was good because I think it was that twist from talking about with Shahmayne, very consultative, to then now we started talking about AI as actual products and businesses.
Yeah. How does an AI power the service that you deliver, and in this case creating a service and product powered by AI? And the next one was interesting because we actually met this next founder through the various actually you'd known about Hey Juno before.
I had.
Because you'd been a user, and Chris had mentioned it to me when we were talking about the news show. But let's bring up Michelle and we'll talk more about it.
Tell me about what the challenges that you face having to do that. I've failed a lot. For me, failing is new information. It's good information. It's helpful. It's been really hard. It's relentless. You've been able to build a digital twin of yourself. So we would clone that part of me.
Okay. I was behind the scenes.
You were.
Clone will, I see it as an incredible superpower, and I believe that it is going to make Juno the best in the world. I think that you need to stay in your lane of expertise, and if someone is doing something better.
Yeah, that was really interesting because a great Australian founder, great Australian ingenuity, and Michelle is that example of it's not just anyone can have ideas and build an app and stuff, right? Like that's what we're seeing right now. But the key difference in terms of adoption, in terms of execution, in terms of usage, is when it's like real experts bringing in their knowledge and know-how into technology. So it's that great combination of both, because Michelle just standalone is an expert in her field.
Exactly.
Right.
I loved it because it was, if we compare even the two businesses from Fuzzy and to her business and to Michelle's business, Hey Juno, Fuzzy's model is built around an existing problem, which is great, and they're utilizing AI to enhance and improve an experience. So not a lot of historic data around like personal data and personal information. It's market data. It's the stuff that's happening out there in real time. Whereas Michelle's business is built around her data set that she has collected over the last
Her
20
IP.
years, her IP,
Yeah.
her knowledge, her insights around process. The tool is trained around that, and that
Yeah.
is how it pulls out the information and does a lot of the research that it then does.
It's interesting because we know that AI is a mirror because it's been trained on human language, writing, etc., etc. And it does tell us a little bit, if you want to weave deeper, it does tell you a bit more about how programmatic humans are. Like there are patterns and formulas to how we say things, because if we can give this mirror of the language of like humans and it spits things back to you. Now, why the mirror connotation is important, because when you've got an expert, the mirror image that comes back is an expert AI.
Exactly.
It's not just an ordinary AI. So it was really great to see and be inspired by, you know, bringing our own expertise into the areas you work in, into the areas I work in. Like,
Yep.
what is my expertise and how do I carve that into the tools that I build? So that was a great episode.
And it really talks to this, again, the trend that has been happening over the last 4 months around the evolution from AI being this tool and thing that I'm engaging in to actually being a platform that can start to work little bit more autonomously.
Yeah.
And not in a way that's replacing jobs or replacing roles, but in a way that is meaningful, enhancing the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And what was even more exciting is something that at the time was pretty unique, but even 2 months later now it's like people are starting to do this, which is she started to clone herself as a CEO, right?
Yeah.
So she'd actually created an AI that was signing off and making decisions and doing these steps within the organization that she would usually have to take herself, but would take up a lot of time. But now she's created this clone and enabled her to focus more on the strategic and meaningful things that drive change in her organization.
And just making that like easier for you. Like I think everyone out there is now starting to, or we're seeing more people start to do that. Like I know Kate, the CEO over at OKX here in Australia, she's been getting into the AI space. So shout outs to Kate. And she's also talked about how she's cloned herself with the AI that she's using. So I think more of that is going to start happening. So a great episode to check out.
Is it something that you've looked at yet? Have you cloned yourself in meaningfully?
You know, because I'm so busy building tools for things that I have with the clients that I work with, and for myself a little bit. But I recently, because I'm working with lawyers, and you know, there's going to be more news on that in the new year. But dictation tools are like really important for them. And I was speaking to a partner where, you know, they had a dictation app and stuff before, but it didn't get off the ground, and it didn't have as many kind of like, let's say, AI features into it. And because of all the other things that I've done, I'm like, hey, let's spin up a prototype, did something in 2 days less, and I've been using it. Because I've used it to go, oh, hey, I needed to get something out to my marketing team. So I use it to write up a message. I use it to dictate and then press a few buttons and stuff, and then it wrote out what I wanted. And I'm just like, why didn't I do this before? Now, taking that a step further with agents and all the things that I can just get it to do, like I need to do a whole lot more. So I'm not quite there at the full cloning myself app, but I've done so. I don't want to count how many apps that we've created and stuff, but yeah, maybe this is a time over this break to reflect and start creating that. What about you?
I was going to say very much the same thing. It's I've taken it to the point of doing exactly what you said, where I'm either recording or taking a few notes and then enabling it to expand on something that I've done, but not to a point of it replacing key actions in my day-to-day work. And I need to step up and probably do that a little bit more. It definitely takes a huge role in the processes and some of the workflows, but I wouldn't say it's a clone of myself, right? They're very simple workflows and agents that are doing stuff. Even you know,
which is still helpful.
Even editing this content, right? It's the same thing. I would like, I have agents that step through a whole bunch of processes for me before I do the executions.
This is the way. All right, let's get to the next.
This is the way.
Let's get to the next one. Over here with Kurt, this was great because it was about community.
Within 2 days, he actually built an entire functional sort of a mobile banking prototype. Within 2 days. We can build proper functional prototype. And like you said earlier, they're actually working prototypes that we can actually do smoke tests and all different tests with real customers, right? Dynamically risk-based pricing. So they can actually base on your own risk profile. Biggest advice to everybody is just to start, not talk about it, not start think about it.
That was great. I mean, Kurt, the background there was that we knew him from an event that he runs every, I think, monthly, Gen AI in fintech and education. it was mostly fintech before. He comes from that background, but in finance, but he's also doing education now. And what was interesting is he's a fellow community builder. And we had another one on the show more recently, not here, not yet, but that's coming up because we've just filmed that with Alex of Gen AI Labs. But Kurt was interesting because it's not just the community side that he's building, but he's also using AI in the work that he does. And as he's talking about there, just how it helps with prototyping and product and just the creation of tools. So it was really interesting to see someone who by day is a builder and works with these AI tools to help enhance the products that he's part of, but by night puts in that extra, that spare time to, I guess, do things like this, to film, to run community events, to bring people together. And he's had some great guests on that show, so on the at the events. So that was a really good one. That was just me solo, just like you had Michelle solo before. So we had a few of these like back and forth solo ones, just depending on availabilities. But if you didn't see someone on camera, they were probably behind the camera. Yeah. What did you think about like Kurt's one?
It was a good episode. It was a little, again, touching on the thing that you mentioned there, which is the community aspect of things. And we're seeing it more, which is great, which is the little communities and hubs around Sydney and the works who are coming together, sharing their experiences and the stuff that they're building within the AI space. And I really love that. Like, I love that coming together of community to share the same. Like, you've been building it for ages with Oz DeFi.
Yeah.
You have a really strong community there. As you mentioned, we spoke with Alex with Gen AI Labs, and it's so inspiring to see a lot of this stuff that's coming together because, I mean, particularly in Australia, we are on the other side of the world. We're very separated from that world of AI, where things are really moving quickly over in, in the States and in Europe. So seeing those pockets pop up around here is like, it's very exciting to see.
Absolutely. Let's get to the next episode.
Today's guest, we have Bastian Epskamp, founder of BE Innovation.
I always look at everything in life. How could you build a product out of this that helps people but also monetize it?
They are constantly trying to figure out how to adapt into this new environment. And a lot of them are suffering.
There are two types of businesses. One that are very afraid of AI, and the other one is that really, really wants to use AI for everything. Identify your biggest pain points and see if that's something where AI, if you can use AI and train an LLM as in a large language model with a data set that's specific to your company, you can basically help get knowledge from every system in your business, but you still need experts to use AI more as an assistant, so to speak, right? How do younger people probably prepare themselves for the market? Just understand things change every single second day. If you're able to pivot, you think differently, because every problem in life and in business, you need to pivot in order to stay successful. So the second part of it is AI is only as creative as what we feed it. Bring in these different views, and that together is creativity. I split my prompts into 3 different components. One is like the pre-work, where I give it background information. Like, we ask AI a lot of questions, but I always say, hey, what did you understand? What questions would you need to ask? Then I do the implementation prompt itself. I say, now implement it. Make sure you follow X, Y, Z rule.
Just really good kind of background there, like with just a lot of tips and tricks from that. I mean, a lot of people still don't see, oh, hang on a second, I can get the AI to ask me questions, and some tools build that within how they do things, but if they don't, you can already do that, you can. So it's a really great practical kind of insights there from Bastian.
This is one of those episodes where I don't feel it got enough love for the amount of value that it actually added, because whereas I love the other conversations, and I think they're all just as important. This one touched a lot more on action for people to be doing stuff when it comes to engaging with it.
We could get an AI to read the transcript and create a whole bunch of lessons just from 100%. Bastian's words alone. So I think that there was a lot of like great stuff there, and it resonated with us because we've been seeing that, doing that, learning from people like Bastian. So definitely one to go back to.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing that he touched on really nicely, which is, again, and it's something that had been talked about a lot, but over the last sort of month and a bit, I became much more aware of the things that people were saying in the media about it, is that importance of AI being, or humans being that human in the loop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not letting the AI have full autonomy over the decisions, because it always gets it wrong. It is a child, as Serena said back in those earlier episodes. that we should be creating touch points to go, are you doing this right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, do the next thing. Are you doing it right? Yes.
Yeah.
Review, check.
Yeah, and it needs that review because like sometimes it'll like depending on what it is that you're trying to do, it will know more than you.
Yeah.
Like no doubt it will just invariably just at a general level know more than you. But then there are some times where because it gets context incorrect or it misinterprets, which it will do from time to time, you need to always be in, let's call it planning mode. When you're vibe coding tools, you go in planning mode and then you see if it's like doing the right kind of plan and then you let it execute. You don't just let it execute straight away. And we're lucky we can do that. You could do it with old tools, but it was very manual. Now some of them just come out of the box that way. But you will see sometimes with building apps and stuff that it will create the wrong set of plans and you have to correct it. And that's okay, that's fine. But it's just that people would think that it can just be completely hands off. And with this Gen AI, it is a probability model. So there is that small probability, no matter how good a tool is, that it might get it wrong. So, you know, it needs to have that co-intelligence, that collaboration, you know.
So true. It's interesting you touched on is that process and task thing. So you've been a very heavy Bolt user in your time,
and Claude Code.
And Claude Code.
Yeah,
So yeah, but you've been developing some awesome apps, and Bolt has been a huge driving force for you to create a lot of those tools. How have you found its sort of task management? Because it does have a planning mode. That transition into you writing something, planning it, and then developing. How have you found that?
Pretty good. It's been pretty good, and it's a feature that only came out a few months ago. And before it had that, you could go into planning mode. It always had the most recent thing that it had was agents doing the work, whereas before it was like back and forth, one-on-one, and it took longer to do things. The planning mode has always been there, and it was great to discuss what it is that you want to do. And you had to be careful. Before agents, you had to be careful that you don't overload the AI with too many things because it will get confused and then get things wrong. It's much better when you break down a task. And we saw this when we were building Psych. To get more accurate results, you don't have, here is a big task. No, you break down that big task into subcomponents and even get the AI to help you break it down into subcomponents, because when you do that and you feed it the right context, you most always get like accurate like results rather than I hope, fingers crossed, it gives me the result I want. No, there's ways to control it. And so Bolt got better and some people don't like it. And I agree that I think there are better tools out there to try. Manus has been doing amazing stuff.
I have been obsessed with it over the last
for building
3 weeks.
Yeah.
I've always
I need to get on it.
I was on it when it was first in its beta, and I played with it a lot. And obviously, it was very early stage, and it was like, yeah, cool, it's doing some cool things. And then I remember testing it a couple months ago to build some stuff, and it was still a bit iffy. But then the last couple of months, I've just been weeks. It has been nailing it in terms of the input and output. And it does exactly what you said with the whole task management flow. It does all that. It creates an actual PID/into task and then starts, you can either say, stop at those points, let me review and keep going, or you just trust it and let us do its thing. It is very, very agent oriented in terms of how to deliver stuff. And they just rolled out a 1.6 update. Now you can create mobile apps, like dedicated mobile apps in it. I haven't tested that out yet, but
that's coming soon. I mean, Bolt's had mobile apps. I haven't played around with that. I like building the web native kind of application that scale in terms of size using React, TypeScript, Tailwind for CSS, getting all technical and stuff here. But that basic formula just allows me to create a whole bunch of different things. I think what it means is that there's going to be a lot of excitement around now we're unbound with ideas, whereas before it's like I couldn't do that because it's like that's going to take too long, or I couldn't do that because I just don't have the resources right now. Like we could do it, but I can't afford to spend that time. Well, what if now you could literally spin up something before a meeting? An hour before a meeting, I've like typically if it's a client meeting, I will start spinning up something with these tools to see how far I can get to. And sometimes I actually get to show something in the meeting to just give people an understanding of like where we're thinking about things, and it's great. So
one of my favorite ones you did was we were obviously had a conversation with a potential client, and I won't give away any of the details or information about it, obviously, because it's early stage, but there was a certain feature that we talked about in it, which involves some image generation. And we were like, yeah, it's possible. Like, we don't know how easy it's going to be. And you're like, give me a couple of days. You went away, and then within a couple of hours, you went back going, hey, here's an example where I actually did a workflow using banana.
Yeah,
and
nano banana.
It worked absolutely perfectly.
And what's interesting is that the timing of it, like if we'd had that meeting maybe a few weeks earlier, it would have been limited in terms of the coherence. So this was something especially important where the images that you were combining needed to maintain the style and the look and feel of the product. And if you didn't have that, it was just going to look off, right? It's going to look like AI slop.
Yeah.
Let's call it that. This one, because Nano Banana is just so much more coherent, and obviously there are other models out there that are getting better as well.
Yeah, OpenAI is releasing an update.
Yeah,
apparently that's the killer right now.
They
all do.
They've come out with it. I haven't tried it out. It's supposed to be faster image generation now. Whether it's faster and better, don't know yet.
Yeah,
but like, let's
agree.
hope it is, because I wouldn't mind like trying that one out too, so that you can move around between the different models. And I think you know, one thing that just speaking of the models, the limitations that you might have with some of the newer tools, but building within your app a way to fall back to something. So, you know, something that I've seen, and this is like, I haven't seen apps do this. You can load up a document and you get it to OCR scan the whole document. And why OCR? Because it's not highlightable text. So you have to, it's basically an image of a PDF. A lot of other tools, they'll convert it and then you can ask questions. But if part of that conversion didn't work, you don't know which part it is. So being able to like, and this is where creativity and knowing how to do these things comes into place. I built something that shows me each page what it was able to take out. So if I see a page that didn't quite scan well, guess what? I don't have to redo the whole document. I can just redo that part with a different model, with a better model. It's freaking crazy the type of things that you can do. You don't have to just be restrained by what vendors provide. So I think that's cool.
That's exactly it. You don't have to be constrained around what vendors provide. Like playing around with some of the tools that the things that I've been building. You know, I built some stuff for Digital Village, built some stuff for myself quite a lot. And there were some API connectors that I would usually, I remember thinking back to maybe 3 years ago when I was trying to piece together some solutions for passing information through to different platforms. I'd have to spend upwards of like $300 a month in order to get access to a set of APIs that a third party would, you know, close and give you access to. Gone.
Yeah.
That issue doesn't exist anymore because I know I can just build that myself. And
your ideas are unbound now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So,
and it's, I think, like I said before, I think we've mentioned it, this is back in news days, like true SaaS products, they're a dying breed because
they're not dead.
They're not dead, they're a dying breed because the things are so accessible now to organizations. Obviously there's a limitation to that statement, but you know,
of course,
I stand by it.
Let's get to the next one.
Today we're joined by Nicole Gibson, author of Love Out Loud and founder of In Truth.
Gibson.
Nicole Gibson.
Nicole Gibson.
One of the 100 top influential people.
In Truth Technologies is the first company in the world that has successfully found a way to biometrically track emotion. So we're always subconsciously, I think, building the thing that we most crave and we most need. Like how do you quantify something that just kind of is there, but you know, to me it wasn't a satisfying answer.
The adaptation is like such a big part of it, of everything that you're doing.
Exactly, adaptation, flexibility, the ability to deal with ambiguity. I think is going to be the thing that separates amazing entrepreneurs from those that can't go that kind of extra mile. And most amazing entrepreneurs say it. You have to be a city like San Francisco, New York, London.
I just pause there.
Yeah, pause there.
There's a lot of, that was a great
big
episode. That's probably the one where it truly, and the others were all great, obviously, like everyone had their own unique, great skills being brought into it. But this one was the one where it, for me, was far more about her story leading up to the tech. The tech part was such a smaller portion of it.
Agreed.
But importantly, it enhances the story. It enhances like her story, her what she's trying to bring to the world, which is inspired by the background that she's had and in dealing with mental health. And what a pedigree, by the way.
That's awesome.
You know, like having being the first and the youngest mental health ambassador for Australia, or the first and the youngest.
Yeah,
I guess
she ticked off a lot of boxes. And you hit it the nail perfectly there. It's like that journey that she'd gone from, even before that led her to be the youngest ambassador, was because of the mental like things that she was facing as through her teenage years and into her
as a performer, all the pressure that pushes down on people that are in that spotlight and stuff, and having to either choose to continue with life. Like literally that was the choice that she had to make there. And what it's led to is now, and we saw her at like Gen AI Lab, an event that we filmed, and we saw
that was kind of what inspired us to want to reach out to her to have her on, because we loved what she was presenting there. It took her from into this journey of building a community called the Love Out Loud. It was a sort of big movement, and that inspired a massive following behind her. The ideas that she was, producing around and love and expression of emotion and feeling to try and conquer mental health. And that then led her into how do we turn that into information? How do we turn that into data? Which led to her creating her product.
And that data, the in-truth product, the data that we talk about there was data that maybe it was captured, but it wasn't like, it was just raw, unrefined information, whether it was captured or not. Let's say it was captured, it wasn't really used. It wasn't captured, then it's just sitting there. And she's capturing it, refining it, and turning it into something that can be useful for tracking the state of mental health for individuals or within organizations, and especially helping those teams really understand each other. Because we have blood pressure, we have heart monitors, we have all of these other sensors and things that are like helping us monitor how we are as humans, but we're not monitoring that side of things. So that was really interesting.
Yeah. It's been interesting to see how their product is going. They're still in beta, and they have early stage access if you do have a Garmin device, because they do have some of the best sensors out there.
Shout out to the Garmin.
Shout out to the Garmin users out there. I'm a Samsung user, but I do love the Garmin products. And I think they're starting to move into becoming available more readily in the next couple months, if I remember. Keep an eye out. There is a bit of pressure from the sort of medical community around what she represents. But I think one of the interesting things is that she's intentionally putting pressure on that. To not say that they're wrong, but to say there is other ways of looking at things. And I think I love the idea. I love the product. She's not saying that this is a scientifically proven thing. This is something to help tap into that emotional side of yourself and be able to see how your emotions are trending when it comes to using technology and AI. It's great.
I think it was great. So let's get to the next episode.
By the end of that session, it was like an 80%, 20% sway towards people fearful for the future of AI. We went around South by Southwest just to get their view. What do they think? It's a doom or gloom?
Some people lose jaw if they don't adapt.
But what really helps is to understand the problem and to cut through the bullshit, as you say.
Take it into a negative space.
And what I got from it is join the resistance.
We also had a chat with some of the people at Build Club.
Yearly and Australia's biggest hackathon, which is in association with South by Southwest.
Created an agent using Relevance AI where you can give it a quick product demo, 2 to 3 minutes.
Build an investment analysis platform.
The valuation of their company is literally more than every single company in Australia combined.
It's this circular economy of the money just swirling around, but everyone's saying that's how much the valuation is.
Sorry. You have such a strong voice, I can't. I just don't go with my soft composure.
Yeah, that was good. This episode was actually live. We filmed some stuff sitting down, and then we actually got up and walked around South by Southwest. As you can see, there's a few highlights in this one where we just stop people, like a man on the street kind of thing, just asking people about the doom and gloom of AI. And we spoke to some experts there. You've highlighted there Vincent, who was part of Build Club. He's moved overseas and stuff. He's a leading AI researcher over at Comet, which is the browser from Perplexity, which I've been trying out. It's really interesting.
It is very interesting.
Got to be, I'm still a bit, not hesitant, but just being a bit careful, especially because of like prompt injection type attacks that it can be prone to, but you just got to be careful about what you get it to look at in terms of sites that you visit. But, apart from that, like such a great idea.
Definitely keep it as a sort of like a separate more action if I'm not logging into things. I'm happy to use it. The moment it's like, I hear a lot of people like, oh yeah, I just use this my main browser. And you're just like, oh, just be really cautious.
The thing is, because they're a company that is focusing on that, this is not just like some tool that they're like, open source, do whatever with it, but they're continuously doing stuff with it. no doubt they're going to solve and put up. And what it is guardrails, just more guardrails to just help make sure that you are protected. And so, but it is the way of the future. You want to have a browser that's intelligent. You want to have something that does that. Anyway, and a side note on that.
The other way around it is like there are lots of companies now who are putting add-ons into your Chrome extensions and Chrome browsers, like whether it's Gemini is already embedded into it, OpenAI is creating extensions, Perplexity even has a Chrome extension.
Or building your own Chrome extensions because you can.
Mm.
But that episode was great because we saw the Build Club have their hackathon over at South by Southwest. We had our own thing that we were filming because Arturo, my colleague at North Centralize, and myself and Chris,
that you guys had.
We had a podcast there, like a live podcast as they do, and we touched on AI and blockchain, and so you can see that one separately. But it was really good to.
We'll try and do next year. For us,
for
this show, we'll do the same thing at South by next.
Oh yeah. We're keen. We'll be showcasing more of this, and we'll talk more about like what the show's gonna have in it next year. But yeah, great to see the builders and people doing stuff in the space. We spoke a little bit about the news as well, and it started to rain on us.
It did
while we were doing it.
I think the interesting thing like that obviously the episode we did cover off, but it was also about the experience of South by Southwest in general and some of the talks that we were able to see that week. And the one that inspired me the most was the Mogadap one with the
Mogadap.
One of their tech leads. He pretty much did a lot of the pioneering of some of the early stages of AI in that business, and he talked around some of the stuff that we had covered off in previous episode, but really drove home for me the importance of AI being that partnership with all the work that you're doing, right? It is your collaborator. It's not your enemy. It's not the thing you should be fighting. But also talking about the risks, more broadly speaking, in a global perspective, that we are at this tipping point where we can be building AI for good, or people can start doing things for bad, right?
Yep.
And we are starting to see both sides of that occurring, and it's just a matter of who's going to win that space is the big question. But that was an awesome episode, awesome session, awesome week. So
let's get to the next.
More to it.
Today we're joined by Jeff Quach, founder of the Indi app.
First thing we do is provide support for the parent. An AI that can actually support the parent through their thinking, articulate what it is they might be seeing so that they can ask the right questions to the right people. So a little bit is that just seeing like struggles at home for sure.
Yeah.
Struggles with dynamic within the broader family set. Nutrition said, yes, like there might be some neurodiversity here. Like, did he crawl properly, like normally? So he kind of like scooch on his knees, and we thought it was really cute.
Yeah.
And he said, that's the first sign. You should have asked something. And so she sat down and she was like, something I thought was cute was something I should have asked a question about, like all this self-blame, all this self-hate that came out.
Yeah. What do people often get wrong as an outsider looking in?
Try to solve for the human. One part of the equation is don't self-solve, but the other is if you're the other person, don't solve for them. A deep understanding, then you can start to articulate more deeper human needs. So one of those theories is called reciprocity, the idea of exchange. When you think about the products and services that we use, social media, AI, sometimes people don't always understand what is the relationship between what I'm giving and what I'm getting from the product. I'm like, there were so many things I wasn't doing and I couldn't do because it's like, do I solve the product today or do I try and, gain some traction in it?
I like this. I mean, all of our episodes have been great, but this is really interesting because, kind of like the Nicole Gibson one, it was touching on
mental health,
or even just like family health, right? Is where his product is actually targeted there. It is looking at how families, mums, parents can engage with a tool to be able to support them through the struggles of their children who may have some mental health problems, whether it's ADHD or even autism and things like that. There's a lot of pressure on mums and even fathers going through the troubles of recognizing or dealing with it himself, and his platform helps to guide those people through that and provide conversation.
Another expert there where he's seen this, he's gone through it like firsthand and being able to apply the things that he has seen as problems that were missing in the space to helping others. And I think that's one of the key patterns that's emerged through a lot of these episodes, is that it's these people that have either faced the problems directly, been acutely aware of it, and have embraced technology to bring something back, and whether it's in testing and it's in beta, or whether it's out there and it's being used, or whether it's something that they just want to bring to the world that is a better way of you know, having our lives just positively impacted. And I think that's the real key with a lot of these people. Like, the pattern is there. They're using, you know, the same sorts of Lego blocks, applying it to a different problem and coming out with these great results.
Yeah, and I think that you touched on it really nicely there, and it's a lot of all the other people they're creating really great products that are solving problems in our work life or other things. Like, they're improving experience in some ways. What this conversation really nicely does is it's AI for good as well. Here's like
part of that
a
thing.
not-for-profit focused business in terms of helping people through types of these experiences and utilizing AI to enhance it. It is AI for good. So it's touching on that side of, you know, what we just mentioned a moment ago. I think that there is a tipping point where AI can have a lot of really strong and positive benefits in the world, and his business is doing that. Which
Speaking of that tipping point and stuff, right? Like, you see all these AI doom and gloom kind of folks that are out there, and they get a lot of attention, media attention. They make a lot of noise, and it's great for them. Their profile goes up because they're pushing all this bad stuff down to others. But the problem with all of that is it is futile. It is absolutely futile, because and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have some pushback and be skeptical of things. We should, but for the most part, the people that are really doing things are being skeptical, but going, okay, well, how do we do it better? Some of these other people are just like being skeptical, and that's it. That's just their brand. Now, the problem I have with that is that whatever innovation has been there in the past, whether it's going from cars to horses,
we're going backwards in time. Well, that could happen to us very soon.
Good. But like going, you know, horses to cars, or like internet, e-commerce, computing, and all that. Sure, we have our bubble type things, but it doesn't mean that it got rid of the internet. It didn't mean it got rid of .com after the bubble. It just meant that we got to a more sustainable kind of level. It's going to be the same thing with AI.
It is.
You know, it will be there. It's just in what version of it, and how do you embrace that. But anyway, I just, you know, side note there.
No, I completely agree. And it is, there's always going to be those who fight the power and get pressure back on things, and you know, they always have to need that, and we should never you know, push the voices out of the conversation. But at the same time, being educated and learning and listening during those conversations to take all sides of the stories is super, super important. And that's something that I've always be cautioned around with the conversations of AI, because there are people who are experiencing a lot of negativity and pressure because of AI, whether it is job replacement, where there shouldn't be job replacement, different argument altogether, or, you know, not being able to take on new learnings to help evolve their careers and their lives because of whatever reasons. There is a lot of pressure on that, and you have to be understanding and be open to those conversations as someone who is pushing, you know, like myself, pro AI.
On that note, I think it's important to just shout out to people, if you feel like you've been affected by negatively AI, and I'm not saying that we know all the answers, but we are people that you can come talk to, because we'll probably have some ideas for what could you do if you're currently threatened by it, or if it's already happened to you and, you know, things are not so great. Like, we would be very happy to talk to you about, like, well, here's some things that you could be doing. This is a way that you can win with the technology. These are some things that you can look at. So, you know, just putting that out there to take a look at. And someone that
I would even add to that is because of some of the great conversations that we've had and the people that we met, we even may know other people.
Exactly, the network.
Exactly. So we could connect you up with other people who can provide you even more information and more services and training, or whatever the conversation is that you need to have.
Okay, so speaking of a positive for the community, let's get to this one. This is Annie from Build Club, a very important one to have on.
Introducing Annie Lau, founder of Build Club.
Annie Liao.
Annie, thank you so much.
Name called 30 Under 30. The founder of Build Club, the largest and fastest growing AI engineering and founder community.
Essentially, we found like 100 of some like the best AI builders, engineers in Australia. Brought them together. Our mission is to like democratize access to AI education. And then we actually got offered like angel funding. Actually turned it down. Just like 7 to 8 weeks where it's like, it was like scary, but also like exciting at the same time. It's like taking a risk is like cool. Like it's like positive aura.
I ran out of time editing this episode. I was so upset. It started to happen more and more.
Busy season.
Oh, so busy. takes a lot of time making it look, those trailers look pretty.
I know. You need an AI.
Yeah. They haven't solved that problem yet.
Relevance was one of the first companies to do a really cool thing, which was to build like what they called like an agent builder team internally, where they realized for enterprises to get like really good ROI, and what would happen is we'd try hand over the agents. But a lot of the time in enterprises, because Relevance AI, they're like a no-code tool platform, so people that can't code are like the ideal users of it. There's an element of like education there where handing it over, but then maybe that person doesn't even know like what prompting is, or like what is AI.
Some pretty crazy stories of like people even starting businesses and like working as contractors in organizations, but half of their persona is just AI.
Funny stories which happened during the day, or like things we're like traumatized by, or you just like bond over.
I'll just pause there. You can watch the full episode, but you know, a key thing with this is that they're seeing them grow from these little things, just like gatherings at Starbucks, gatherings over at the VC firm that Annie was working at. And I was lucky enough to come along and be part of those early on, and to speak to Annie as she was in this consideration set of going, well, do I just go get a job in the AI space, or do I go actually build Club? And she went, you know, and did a bit with Relevance, and then she saw that, no, I just really need to actually go focus on this and grow this community. And that's the bigger mission, the bigger calling that some people have, almost like a religious sort of thing. And she's now done that, right? And seeing it grow over the last couple of years has been amazing, because it's the community aspect. People have wanted to come together with regards to this. People have wanted to, as she talks about there, share the nightmare stories so that they can learn from others, but others can also learn from them. And that's one of the greatest things that they've got with this community. And they've done it in this way that's now in 50 cities and probably growing, where different chapters are trying to grow their own, being part of the bigger mothership that is Build Club.
It's really good, because we talked about before with the other communities that have popped up, inspiring that this one coming out of Australia has gone so global now, you know, all due to her efforts. It's quite inspiring. The other interesting part of it is that she comes, having moved early over to San Fran during her early career, you know, she comes at it from a different perspective that you would not have here in Australia. And she provides this really like interesting insight into how fast things are moving, the way that communities operate in those regions, how they come together to build together, but to build
hacker houses.
The hacker houses, to build different things. And that is what drives so much innovation in those places.
Bringing those ideas back, I think it's important, like coming from the blockchain space, and shout outs to mates of mine, Steve and Rochelle at Blockchain APAC. Steve was the head, the managing director, CEO of Blockchain Australia, which is the peak industry body here in Australia. He moved on, and now Amy Rose runs that, and shout outs to her. But he moved on into this more consultative role, where he basically, with his business partner Rochelle, they go travel overseas, they go to all these events, and they bring back news of what's going on overseas. They share and they meet up with Aussie founders that are on those travels, and they open up their diary to, you know, here's what's going on. But more importantly, I think for people that are here in Australia, bringing that kind of stuff back to, you know, Australians, I think is really important. So yeah, what did you take away from this one?
I mean, I love the story around her journey, the inspiring step that she took, the risk that she took, leaving a corporate stable kind of job, at a very, very big, rapidly growing business, and one of the biggest AI companies came out of Australia with Relevance AI. I loved that journey, and it kind of inspired me to try and do more things and build more, so we have more conversations and you know,
take more risks.
And you know, she's a massive Manus user. That kind of stepped me back into trying Manus all over again. But it's been very cool to see the things that they are also building and putting out there. They had a press release just today with the launch of one of their products,
Solaris. Solaris to them for that.
So another big corporate education platform to inspire and you know,
to help with adoption, really.
Exactly, help with adoption for AI in organizations, whether it's business level or individuals. So it's very cool what they're doing. I think they have a lot of opportunity, and she is right at that precipice of being able to, you know, for all the new things that are coming out there. She's at the, you know, she's right there in the thick of it all.
And speaking of Build Club, someone that did come out of Build Club that we got to know, and this is getting into the gaming space.
Yes.
Shaking up one of the largest industries in the world, the gaming industry, we introduced Jack from Tempest AI. I mean, gaming industry is literally the largest entertainment industry in the world.
Super funny story how I actually got into gaming. And I used to just download these Unity tutorials. So I noticed that there wasn't a lot of game design content out there. How do you actually design a successful video game? How do you make a engaging experience to users? Well, Tempest is a consumer platform. We are essentially lovable for games. We let generative AI understand what is happening within this game and actively make content to keep the game going. We actually ended up building our own game framework, our own game engine, if you will. It is really
lovable for gaming.
Lovable,
so
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like this. It was kind of cool because I mean, as a gamer myself, hearing
I know,
and seeing people who are building now.
Well, at South by Southwest, we were we were all in. You were way more in than I was. I'm not as big a gamer anymore, but they had the gaming festival kind of area and stuff.
It was very cool to be able to see all the stuff that people are building. But AI is having obviously a huge impact on their business, whether it's storytelling and asset creation and the works. And some organizations coming back and saying that we'll never do that. We'll only create human-based games. But let's be real, it's definitely putting pressure on that industry.
I don't think it's one or the other. In a lot of these industries that we're talking about, and we'll see it in the next couple of episodes too, where basically it's not this or that. It is both. It is the co-creation, co-intelligence, collaboration, really, right? And that's what he's talking about here, where they're bringing the intelligence around how they know about games and stuff, and how do you make it so that you can use AI to create. We give it the framework of here's how we create games, and then and I was building something I'm filming in the background here, but I was actually, apart from doing some work and filming, I was also trying to create a few games myself.
Oh, it is that.
Yeah. So
it was still pretty beta then. Actually, so probably he got a bit of funding by now. We'll check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
After this to see how far it's come. But there's a lot of he's in a very competitive space right now, because there are actually a lot of game generating applications that have started to pop up. Can't name them off the top of my head, but I was having a play around with a few of them.
This is where it's all about execution.
Exactly.
It's never been more true that ideas are free, because now you've got an AI. Before AI, it's okay, ideas might be limited to what you know. Well, now ideas are limited to what you can prompt the AI and ask it of, and see what it comes back to you. You have this really amazing assistant there. But even then, it's just an idea. It's the execution, actually creating something and then getting it out to market, and how do you work with that cycle of getting and being adaptive. They mentioned adaptive before in one of the earlier episodes. This is the time to really be adaptive.
It is. So we move on to the next one.
AI philosopher, educator, and builder.
This was a fun one. This was just a fun conversation. Something that we've been having a chat with him for a month.
In the background for a while, yeah.
Quite a while.
And I hope to be forgiven for that. I think the answer is humility. You really can't go past the 3 horizons framework. They're now working with an AI that operates at their level. AI is kind of smart, stupid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like people I knew in the university. They're brilliant at doing one thing.
Yeah. Where do you see us going with AI?
The routine tasks are going to be automated, which will lead to the transformations of jobs. There's sort of AI pilots getting 0 ROI, but 95% of employees in these companies are using AI on the sly. The shadow AI phenomenon, because human plus AI, that's the magic. Philosophy teaches you to stay with the question.
I think there was an irony with what he said with regards to, you have these surveys, and sure, some of these surveys have been really overblown because they haven't done that much testing, this much testing, and yet the headline is, it must be for all that this is the case. Anyway, apart from those,
all the MIT reports and stuff.
Yes, but seeing, and they clarified that we weren't that thing that we did was not supposed to be used to say all these industries. They clarified that, but it was.
An institution that is that size comes out with something, it's exactly what everyone's going to do.
Anyway, regardless of looking under the hood and people just wanting to believe their own headlines, the key thing there being about if you have these headlines that say, or even like at smaller companies, like, okay, well, we're not really getting much out of AI, yet you've got employees using, whether it is shadow or it's being allowed, employees are using AI to help with these little tasks, but like these big AI projects not really like working and stuff. And so there is this funny kind of divergence. And I think it speaks to the fact that you need to, if you're building out there, you need to bring AI to where people are, not go, here's AI, you need to come to it. And maybe it's something in the middle, depending on what it is that you're trying to do. There is no hard, you know, this is the only way. But I think it speaks to a lot of that. And you see it in the organizations you work
100%. I mean, it even talks to the very first conversation we had with Shahmayne. That is exactly the thing, is that people are often ignoring the humans who are on the tools. And they just, again, they're ticking a box for the AI strategy. The thing I liked about this, it was while talking about this for 6 months and just going, look, people are using it and doing it. It's the first time that I'd properly heard the use of the shadow AI strategy that's going on in businesses. Which, if you don't know, is the idea of there are already people in your organization who are using AI, who are using AI with tools that are either their own or they're just not telling the business.
Probably unapproved and
unapproved,
stuff.
exactly right.
They might be able to be approved, they might be okay, but like just the fact that they're not on the list of IT or whatever.
And so what that means is when businesses start to integrate their own AI strategies and say, oh, you've got to use this tool, it is challenging the people who are already using things in their own way. And it's like, actually what you should probably do is be engaging with the people in your organization, understand what the tools they're currently using, and then see how that can roll into the bigger strategy. They are your data set. What they're doing is your data set, and you should be using that data set to feed your strategies. And that's kind of where that shadow AI strategy thing is playing its role.
And then the other thing with Tim being a philosophy nerd, I'm sure he'd be okay with me calling him that. We spoke about a lot in our background chats about this this concept of like, oh, you know, people would be like, well, AI sounds like us, and that's what we heard, and we could see that AI could mimic, you know, things that are human. And I was already thinking back at the time, we were already discussing this, it's like, hang on a second, pause here, because
time out, man, time out.
If that's happening, then what does that tell us about how we're internally programmed ourselves? Is there like an internal LLM that runs us? And what's interesting, and this, I saw this happen after, like I just thought that and go, okay, that's pretty interesting. It tells us a bit more about ourselves, that maybe we're a bit more programmatic, maybe we're in the matrix, maybe they're, you know, whatever. But I'd seen something more recently that I think Tim would have loved in terms of a philosophy sort of thing. These other folks, Kurt Jaimungal, I'm going to butcher the name there. He's another YouTuber. He had some guests on where they talked about this potential idea of language itself, given what we've seen with AI, and that language is basically mathematics and programmatics, programmable, you know, like you can see these patterns emerging. That's why AI can predict the next letter, word, sentence, paragraph. That maybe language is this alien construct. You know, it just exists. You can put it anywhere. If you can program it into something, whether it's humans or machines, language will just fester, right? So anyway, these guys took it well beyond what we discuss here, but that might be a philosophy thing for another episode.
That's exactly, I mean, it's true. It's like you look at, you've even sat AIs down together to talk with each other and they start making up their own language. Humanity, how our own languages have evolved is just an amalgamation of different languages. Crazy. You know, changing over time. So I definitely think that would definitely happen.
So let's get to
couple more left.
The last two.
Well, that's later, actually. That's one.
Flipping the creative industry on its head, Mark and I welcome Kent Boswell and Marcus Tesoriero from aiCandy. Let's go. You've gone from leadership to leadership role in the creative space. Winning hands on the building and creating some really, really exciting content.
I've done Hollywood feature films, hundreds of television commercials, tech, augmented reality, virtual reality. For the last 5 years of my career has been mainly working in that creative tech space.
There was so much talk around AI avatars, efficiencies in AI. Touching a little bit on AI film generation. But it was kind of still laughable even back then, like, you know, 18 months ago, you know.
Will Smith type stuff.
Will Smith eating spaghetti, right? aiCandy it's not a prompting tool. You are a production company essentially that's utilizing it. We make the impossible. That's the whole ethos, is those impossible ideas can now be made.
Think of it as a top tier production company.
That
we don't use cameras, forward facing.
I love these guys are really good at this. These are ex-creatives and /producers. They have started a business, aiCandy, where they are pretty much only using AI to generate all of the footage, and they have professionals that sit in the background who are constantly building and shaping things. It was really, really cool, and like this is AI used in the right way. We're keeping humans in the loop. They're partnering with a tool to be able to create their output, whether it's a commercial or other. But it is funny, like not long after this episode, we started to see, was it recently McDonald's released an ad, and it got absolutely slammed.
Really?
It was a Christmas ad, all AI generated.
Yikes.
And they were talking about the pressures of, you know, how, I think I had a song that was like, I can't remember the song exactly, but it was like, it was a negative play on the standard Christmas carols around, it's too much, Christmas is too much. And it got taken down within a day. That's how much the backlash is.
Jeez.
It shows that even though there is the freedom to be creative there with AI, you still got to be really conscious of what people want when it comes to creating the content and creating it with purpose. And so when when aiCandy is creating stuff, they're doing it with purpose, but you're still seeing a lot of businesses who are not, and it kind of, you can see the backlash as soon as it hits the market. Those commercials competing against that AI slot that's out there.
And the interesting thing as well is that, talking about like bringing the experts in the loop, it's not just, okay, let's just bring experts in the loop. Like, because, and we'll talk about the new show, but like whether it's humans or it's experts, or whatever it is, like just having people in the loop there, it's not just that. The key thing here is that what they said is that, and maybe for different industries it's going to change, but the way that they do it, because you could have had experts and then they just use generic AI tools to just go, okay, build this, and then, okay, it's done, and then just release it there.
Yeah.
No, they said explicitly like that their process is still the same steps. You need to do setting the scene, you need to set the background for the actors, you need to give them the scripts, you need to do this, you need to do all of these
storyboarding, design boards, like all of the stuff that you would go through when it comes to creating any kind of video stuff. They still go through those same processes.
Exactly. And those same processes there, that is something that you still need to have in your existing process. The process doesn't change. How you do it, how you get there, how you can do things faster, how you can do more things is what really changed there. So that was like a key thing, because you can take that out of any industry and apply it into something else, and it's the best way to do things, at least currently, and maybe it'll even be things where you can unlock new ideas. So really interesting to see what they had there. And they created a great commercial for the UN that we showed during the episode.
They did. It was showing how the impacts of climate change and utilizing real climate change data to display images that obviously we can't display because a lot of those issues.
We're not going to go flood New York or Amsterdam or Tokyo, but you can with AI. So if you want to flood it,
and with real insights, exactly right. So that was a good fun episode, and I really like that. But it is, again, it is showing the risk that is out there, and the pushback that is happening when it comes to the usage of this is also another side. Again, listening to both sides of the story is super important.
Currently, there are a lot of businesses out there who are trying to explore how AI can benefit the human psyche, whether it's in our day-to-day world or in business. One of the organizations at the frontier of this is Mood AI, and here to talk about their history, their journey as a founder, and to talk about Mood AI is Dr. Nathan Jones.
Welcome, Nathan.
Welcome, Nathan Jones. Nathan is a pioneering emotional researcher, TEDx speaker, and the founder of the Mood Institute.
Have you ever sat on your couch, grabbed your remote, turned on the TV, and gotten the fright of your life?
TED speaker?
The same song sounded a little bit like this.
I think Michelle's being TED.
This is not AI, by the way.
No,
it's not AI.
It's him. For real.
Nathan was a pop star for a little while. People don't realize. Look him up. He won awards.
Yep. I think I put the link in the notes, but it's all of his songs. He's got Christmas carols and everything.
Exactly.
It's all up there.
And perfect. It's like Christmas next week. This is the perfect timing.
The green zone, feeling glad. Traditionally, we've had these kind of literal textbook models of emotion, say, where this goes here, this is this. And they're always quite reductive. It just doesn't always quite fit our lived experience. But when we get to a point where we don't need a set model that's very reductive, there are tiny nuances that are being picked up, and we're kind of...
It's really interesting because dealing with something that a lot of people are probably facing when it comes to, hey, there's this new tool, hey, there's this new way of doing things, hey, there's this blah, blah, blah. Like there's so much. Workplace burnout is a real issue that is not just facing people and, the employees, but founders as well. And people like trying to do, like a lot of these folks have their startups, right?
Yeah.
Burnout is like a real thing.
And what we talked about in the episode is there's legislation that has come in place to support people and businesses who have staff who are experiencing this burnout, and so businesses actually have to have something in place that is enabling them to either track and explore, but also give an outlet. And that's exactly what his tool does. And I mean, it touches on nicely this AI for good point that I raised before. It's exactly what their business is doing, focusing on how it supports people in organizations who are going through these pressures and burnout and experiences. Mood AI tries to mitigate, tries to predict, tries to show that this is a trend that is occurring, and then giving people a place to talk about it in their tools, in their AI tools and both human tools alike.
It's interesting because it just shows that there's been a few, everyone's being considerate of the human ness of a workflow process and having that in the loop, so to say. But there's been a few that are really taking it that next level, and whether it's like the mental health ones, or in this case psychological safety, and just really just showcasing that people are being considerate to this. They're not just trying to launch stuff and just go, okay, we know this is going to get rid of like thousands of jobs, go hard. No, like they're actually, like a lot of the Aussie founders and people in this space, this new version of, it's Digital Nexus now. We'll talk about the new one next. But people are being very considerate about like how we approach things. This is a pragmatic way to build the future.
Exactly right. And the other thing I liked about this is, people like Nicole Gibson, they're building a lot of platforms on experience. What this one does is building it on, again, actual data from his history, from his work as in himself being a certified doctor and psychologist. He is providing real data and real insights that fills this tool, just like Michelle was doing with Hey Juno, and that's another interesting play on what we don't see with the other AI tools as well. So very, very great purpose-driven platform and business that he's building out here.
We'll talk about what comes next.
Yes,
Chris. Let's get
a lot of stuff that's coming up next. So we are, I think, and this has been inspired, I guess, from a lot of the conversations we're having with other people in the market. It's inspired by a lot of the conversations that we've even had to date. Is that it's not just about AI. It has become much more prevalent around the person who is the expert in the platform. Just like Human in the Loop, we're planning to rebrand and provide something that is a bit more open and a bit more broader around that expert in the loop, because that is pretty much what we're doing.
It literally is, and apart from like Human in the Loop being taken by a lot of other podcasts and stuff, but I think
Digital Nexus, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly that. But something that we noticed early on was that it's not just human in the loop that is good enough. Like, because why? Just philosophically or just logistically, like anyone could be a human in the loop and go, okay, yeah, that process is right, sign off. But the key difference is, like, I don't care in the future that my doctor is using AI. I care that they read the output. I care that an expert has been in the loop. So experts in the loop is what we're going to change to the new show to. The people that you've seen here from whatever angle, whether a startup founder, a consultant, building in this space, being aware of the space, utilizing in their own expertise and coupling it with that, these are all experts in the loop. And I'm not saying that, I mean, we've got our own expertise in the loop and we're talking with other experts, and we'll be bringing on a whole heap more experts and having more expert level conversations, because some of the other things that we're going to do is delving into the corporate world with some new types of episodes and going more live. So there's a whole lot of these exciting things that are going to be happening in 2026.
More group conversations as well. We want to have like loosely roundtables and debates. The pressures that AI is putting on all generations right now, and how we can mitigate that, education, training, et cetera, et cetera. So we got some big plans for the new year. Pretty excited, but yeah. What are the kinds of things that you're excited for next year in particular?
The biggest thing for me is like, I've put out on my LinkedIn today, and we'll be talking more about the bridging of two sides that I've always been like dabbling in, but bringing it in a more collaborative way, and you'll be part of that too, is this kind of like raw creation side of things. You know, we spoke about some of these people that they take raw data and turn it into something you take action on, products, services, taking that side, but keeping a foot in the door of the research side of things as well. So I'll be talking about something in the new year, all be announced there. Big website changes, a lot of collaboration, bringing that into it. And then as you know, what I've got there for that, why it's exciting for this is because I have this like new audience to expose what we're talking about in terms of conversations to. So that's one of part two things. One is that the other part is that we announced at AusDeFi that AusDeFi Association, which has always been about digital assets, but decentralized finance is not just the investment side of things. People think that, oh, DeFi, it's like staking, yield, you know, investment in shitcoins, so to speak. Not all shitcoins, but like a lot is true. But blockchain technology is what it was always about. The payment rails and how we transfer value and how we protect information. And that's always been there. So for me, decentralized finance has been all about that, but you cannot have that without smarts and the AI smarts that are hard to ignore. And AI itself needs protection that blockchain, this immutable database, can provide. So bringing those two together is going to be more about what that association is about. So our show is going to see more audience into that realm as well. And, you know, the meetup groups that we run, that's going to change for the better. So those are the two things.
Love it. Just
what about you?
Two tiny, me.
Two tiny things.
For me, it is again the similar thing to what you're saying in terms of the opportunity that presents itself across the stuff that I'm building, the businesses that I'm working with. I have a couple of massive projects which I'm so excited to get out next year that I've been working on with people who are building AI for purpose-driven reasons, and also in government and policy. And so they're going live start of next year. So I'm really excited to be able to finally talk about those, as well as just the evolution over the last year of AI has been insane and unprecedented. And that acceleration is only going to continue to grow to a point of where I think that just this ability that we're already going in to create our own tools is going to become even easier and open up more doors for just doing things that I couldn't fathom doing, you know, a couple of years ago. And that is so exciting to me. It's so exciting, some of the stuff I've been able to build just in the last couple of weeks, as we were talking about before. And that's only going to get bigger and better.
You know, just thinking something as you're saying that, like this unbound like imagination and stuff, and it's like, well, what if someone goes, well, I don't have
by money
that,
tokens.
but let's just say that someone goes like, oh, it's unbound imagination, and then someone goes, well, I don't have imagination, and you go, well, there's AI for that can help you with the imagination. Great. Well, I've got imagination, but I don't know how to build. Great. AI, you can use AI to help you build. I've got AI to build and I've got imagination, but I don't know how to get AI to help me sell it and transact and like execute on this. Well, there's AI for that. And it's like, oh, I can't get started because the data's not clean. You got AI for that. Like there is, and I'm not saying that AI has to be for everything. There's certainly stuff where you want to just still be human in what you're doing. Like maybe it's like for creative writing and stuff, you still want to be the human side there, but then AI can help with other aspects. It doesn't have to be the answer to everything, but it could be. But it's also like, how do you find a pragmatic way to use it, just like all of these founders have done in the past episodes.
And the other thing is there are so many now open source and free tools out there to be able to play with and learn from, and like obviously be cautious around the data that you share, but there is enough there to start building and start exploring and start learning. And even more so, as we just talked about, just here in our area alone, there are 3 massive communities that are all free to engage with. And so there is not only are there tools out there, there are an infinite amount of possibilities to talk with people to even understand how you can do things.
You know,
and everyone in this space is so helpful to be able to go, oh yeah, I'm happy to show you how to do this.
All of these
build that thing.
Founders that you had on the show, that we had on the show, they're all very willing to help. And one of the things you said there before, and this speaks to like something where it was a problem before, but it really shouldn't be. And I can show how it's not, because for example, like being careful about what you put into the AI, right? Like going into the kind of techie details there. Sure, you had to be careful, you had to redact, you had to like strip out some things and stuff. And before it was like, well, I have to copy things out and then change things or like rewrite. Well, now using AI, you can build tools that help you look at a PDF and just do the redactions yourself and then throw that into the AI. And maybe it's something you build, or maybe you use a third-party tool, but there should be no more excuses about what I can and cannot do just because I can't access that best model because the data's not here in Australia, where there's ways around that, you know? So I think that the uncovering of ways to get things done, the uncovering of like amazing things that others are building. That's going to be key for this episode, and we'll keep sharing our insights into the new year. Bigger, better, bolder, more AI.
Experts in the loop.
Let's go.
Signing out for 2025. See you all next year.
See you there.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, all right.
Thanks so much, guys.
That was going to be a lot of like